Welcome to Module 1, Stepping into the World of Home Care. Your role, your calling. This is where your journey begins. In this module, you'll explore what it truly means to be a home health aide, not just as a job, but as a calling rooted in compassion, trust, and service. You'll discover how your unique gifts bring peace, dignity, and comfort to those you care for. Take a deep breath and open your heart to the lessons ahead. You're not just learning to care, you're stepping into your purpose.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Dr. Kimberly Adunji. I'm the founder of HerJourney's Home Health Aide Certification Program, along with a couple of other programs that we offer as well. Wanted to extend my welcome for those of you who did not have an opportunity to go through HerJourney's welcome section. If you have not, I'd like to invite you to do that. It gives you some great foundational information regarding our course, um, the way the course is set up, the navigation, the course shell, as well as how our book is set up as well. So I think you'd enjoy it. There are a couple of videos as well that may help you. So let's jump into Module 1. So within Module 1, there are four different lessons, if you will. Your core role, or your role as a professional home health aide. Lesson 2, or Lesson B, is essential care services and support. Lesson C is common care settings. And then Lesson D is the philosophy of providing direct care and support. Within our core shell, you'll see that it's not showing yet, but you will see that there's going to be an A, B, C, and D, so that you will be able to go from lesson to lesson. I've taped each lesson to make it a little bit more digestible for you versus you sitting through a long module. Yeah, I hope you appreciate that. So, as all of our modules begin, you have a notes section. And so you can take down your notes, dated and what have you for class, or as you're going through each of the lessons. You can either use these, or, of course, it's your book. You can write in the modules. So, here's an overview of what you're going to learn from this module. We're going to basically talk about the field of home health aid. We're going to outline the roles and responsibilities and the importance of compassionate care and the standards that guide our work as home health aides. In each of the modules, we'll also talk about the objectives, and these are the tasks or the skills that you are supposed to know, or you will know by the time we're done with this module. The first one is, again, describing what home health aides do and where they work, listing some of the various titles that a home health aide could have, explaining the continuum of care and settings, jobs, opportunities in various communities. And then finally, we're going to describe the philosophy, history, and benefits of the independent movement. Independent living movement. And you definitely will see that on the final exam. Even though we have quite a few terms, and you see it right here, it says key terms. There's some terms that we always will focus in on. And for this chapter, the term scope of practice is probably a very, very, very um, key term, or key title, if you will. That basically outlines what you can and cannot do as a home health aide. We'll get into that a little bit more. So, as I stated, we have some key terms mentioned in this module, and they are listed here: activities of daily living, agency, assisted living facility, what's a care plan, consumer directed care and continuum of care, direct care, home health aides or HHAs. You'll see that throughout our training, independent living movement. Definitely see that again. Scope of practice and support plan, which are independent or which are interchangeable. Some people call them support plans. So we're going to start off with your role as a home health aide. This is section A. All right. You provide essential support with daily living activities such as bathing, grooming, and meal prep, light housekeeping, and promoting behaviors that foster community engagement. And when we say community engagement, that community could be in the household. So a lot of times you may come and assist a person where their daughter or their son may live there, the grandkids may be there. That's their community, their internal community. It also extends outward as well. So it could be the neighbors as you walk. Your client or in the wheelchair, you may meet the outside community. So it your community is internal, which is the family that you're working with. Even if you're in a facility, a lot of times the families will come in. Hey, can I get you a glass of water? Hey, how's your day going? Hey, do you have a moment to step out in the hall so that I can kind of share with you what's going on with your loved one? So that is our community. And so when we say that we serve our communities, that's what we're referring to. Right. This training emphasizes core skills, and I've talked about that. The skills are your exams, your learning checks, your competencies, your um, that's it's kind of 3 in 1. So that's what this course consists of. So as I mentioned, your 10 skills, your knowledge, what we're doing right now, and then the learning checks are how we look at the competencies. How do you let us know that you understand what we're requiring of you and to give you ways to make sure you remember it as well. All right? So, a home health aide, in the beginning, we talked about what are some of the other names that, or titles that individuals who care for others may have. Of course, it's the home health aide, personal care assistants or personal care attendant, I've heard, direct support professionals, companion, caregiver, attendant, respite worker, and care associate. Can you think of some others? I bet you can. All right. So, the typical being the key word when I would teach this, a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, that's not how my home health aid company is structured, or what have you." So, this is kind of the typical organizational structure, and I show you this to, um, and you'll see to show you how important you are in this organization chart. So, you'll have your executive director is probably a doctor or the owner of the facility. A medical director definitely should be a doctor or nurse or nurse practitioner. Professional advisory board and performance improvement coordinator. They are at the tip top. They are the ones that put together what the organization does, put together the rules, the responsibilities, what types of care do we provide, what types of care is out of our scope of practice, if you will. So then you go down to the important part. You have three different sections or managers. You have the intermittent visit service manager, private duty services manager, and then the office manager. Below that, you have supervisors, and that's basically who we report to when we're working in a facility. The supervisors under intermittent visit as well as private duty, um, they are responsible for the same areas. It's just their line of work is different. Each have caseworkers, care coordinators, nurses, which I say RN, LPN, and LVN, and then the therapists, occupational therapists, PTs, SLPs, and then social services. They have a master's of social work, and then the home health aides, us. And so um then on the right side you have your office manager, you have the billing clerk or the billing and the scheduling person, filing clerk, and the receptionist. Those are the people that take care of the office when you have to call in. Sometimes if your supervisor's not there, or you have changes in your hours working or what have you, you definitely go to the supervisor, but sometimes you may go over to the billers or what have you, depending on how your organization is set up. But out of all of that, I need you to notice a couple of things. So at the bottom, holding up the entire what I call pyramid, because if you look at it, it kind of looks like a pyramid. Holding up the whole pyramid and the foundation of what we do are the clients. And so if there weren't clients, you couldn't have this organizational structure at all. And so keeping that in mind, that the client is at the core of everything that we do, it's important to understand them, to understand their needs, and to make sure that whatever care they need, you're communicating it up. So just above the client is you. And so if it wasn't for, many times, if it's not for the home health aide basically telling social services, yep, you came out once, we're seeing some changes, or the therapist, or the nurses, or the care coordinators, or the registered nurse. Even when you have your care team meetings about specific clients, most of the time, who's running that meeting? It's you, right? So if you're letting the nurses know, you're letting the case managers know or case coordinators know, the nurses know, hey, you've given them their prescription, or the doctor gave them the prescription for blah 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 blah. I've noticed that, he's talkative in the morning, and then after I give him his breakfast, he turns into a vegetative state. And I believe it's blah 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 medicine. It's that medication. You're with that person the most. So any changes that you see, it's communicated to that care team. So even though you see these big old fancy titles, if you are not paying attention, or if as you pay attention, as you continue to work with your client, you run these meetings, right? Because you're the one that see the changes. You're closest to that foundation, which is our client. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. So what are some of the responsibilities you have? It varies based on the setting that you're working out of, your client. Some people just come in to do bathing. And so that's your task. Some people just come in and get the person up, and help them with their breakfast, and get them dressed, and then the family member comes in. So depending on what your role is, you may have varied tasks, but common tasks that you typically do is personal care, helping a person wake them up or get them up and bathe them, either a bed bath or a regular bath, doing their hair, be it a dry, using the dry shampoo, or how to wash their hair in bed, getting them dressed, and helping them while they eat, running errands and shopping and taking them to appointments, chores around the house, cleaning and meal prep, and supporting clients. This is probably your most important role, and it's supporting the clients, encouraging independence and community involvement according to their individual care plans. But most of the time, and I'm sure you probably agree, they just want somebody to talk to, right? And that's half the battle. If I can talk to someone, if I can communicate with someone, if I can watch TV, and you may be tired of watching Gunsmoke and some of the older movies, but they need that. We all do, quiet as it's kept, but they need that more so. So, and they trust you. They know that you're coming, and a lot of times, their eyes just brighten up because they have been waiting for you all weekend, because you've become their friend, right? So it's very important. You got a very important role. And so to understand the roles and responsibilities, you should participate, and I'm sure you already know this, in your agency's onboarding or in service training. Some places have in service training every 2 weeks, or once a month, or once a quarter. Regardless, this is how you keep your skills up. You understand what's new in home health care and what have you. And then you should look at your job description often. And if you want to talk to your supervisor, you've noticed that you're doing a lot more things that maybe that may fall out of your job description. Talk to them about it. Maybe there's a raise involved. So things to consider. But let's talk a little bit about this care plan. And so we want to always make sure, as independent home health aide in a hospital, in a facility, in a respite, wherever, that we not only, because what I'm finding when I go to some home care places, not only are people looking at the care plan, or they'll look at the care plan, but they'll look at a section of it. What do I have to do today? I want to challenge you, if you don't already do it, look at the whole care plan. Why are they there? Were they falling all the time? Were they having a problem breathing? Are they wetting the bed? Like, why? What brought them to the facility, or what was the event that caused them to call you? And you want to make sure you understand that and you can articulate that. Now, 9 times out of 10, if you have a care team, you already know that. But if you're working independently or in a facility, sometimes you don't get that. You want to make sure that you understand that, because if it's a person who has a hard time breathing, sometimes you may meet them, they're doing good. But if you notice that they're wheezing sometimes, or they're having a hard time, that's your key to tell someone else, you know what, this person came in for that and it's not getting better. So make sure that you become familiar with not only the person, but why they're there in the facility in the first place. And are they getting better? So, um, the next thing that I want to bring to your attention, you'll see it's in a triangle with an exclamation mark. If you're unsure about any aspect of your job duties, reach out to your supervisor for clarification. You don't know how many people I see, new aides, not necessarily all of them, but quite a few new aides and LPNs and RNs. But they'll not ask questions because they're embarrassed. And I seen a case where there was a person who was supposed to have a breathing treatment. She thought she knew how to do it. Well, actually, she didn't know. But she gave the breathing treatment, and the person was still wheezing, and she just left him there. She didn't say, "Hey, I gave this breathing treatment, and they're still sounding like they did what, just before." And so, luckily enough, a nurse came in to check on this patient, and the breathing, the oxygen was worse. And so she said, "Well, what did you do?" She said, "Well, I didn't know how. Nobody taught me how." Well, why didn't you ask? So, and I say it kind of like, well, why didn't you ask? Because I don't want anyone to be afraid to ask. I think it's brilliant for someone to say, "You know what? I went through this training. We went through breathing treatments in our in service. Can you show me again on this patient? I I need some help." And I know it's easier said than done when you have a hall of 9 patients and you got to get them all together by 9:30 or what have you. But if it's something as serious as a breathing treatment, or their medicine, or you see blood in the stool, or you're changing and you notice a bed sore or what have you, speak up. Speak up right then. Write it in a chart. So, nothing to be ashamed of, to say you don't know, or can you show me. I think that's the smartest thing. All right. So, we have just finished up our first lesson, lesson A. So, I'm going to see you when we get to lesson B. Go get a cup of coffee or drink. I'll see you in a moment.